Sales doesn't actually begin when they're in front of you and you're talking to them about your product, or when you're talking to them about their wants and their needs and their goals. That's not where it begins. That's where the closing begins. But the sale begins way, way earlier. And in fact, a lot of the best companies that we've seen do a great job of building relationships in the marketing process and then carrying it through into the sales process. In fact, one of the best marketers I've ever learned from, his name's Roy T. Williams, built one of the most successful ad campaigns. I mean, to work with this guy, you'd have to be able to pay him a few $1,000,000 a year just to be able to get his attention. That's how great he is. He's been doing this for about 50, 60 years. What I'll tell you is one thing he taught me was it's not about branding, it's about bonding. How do we bond instead of brand? Don't brand your images, but instead bond with the people in the community or the prospects that could one day become your actual clients. Now, let's get on to the episode. Building authentic relationships with prospects online. That's something a lot of people don't think you can do. You have to build it when you get in the studio, but you've proven that you actually can. And before we go into that, let's really talk about the problem first. So what is the problem that people are seeing that I don't want to say forces, but encourages us to really work on this idea of building authentic relationships with prospects online? What's the problem, Michael?
Yeah, sure. So typically everyone's trying to convert their audience online from a cold traffic. So they haven't built any relationship. They're getting poor quality leads or low lead volume as well. And I mean, I'll use the analogy. Let's say you have a new prospect walking into your gym for the first time, and you're simply just trying to sign them up for a 6-month membership, and you haven't built any relationship. And so the problem is that there is no effort with building rapport and building that emotional connection with your audience online at all.
So yeah, and so what we're talking is low lead volume, poor quality leads. This is what happens, right? When we don't have this solution that we're talking about, and also cold audience issues, ineffectiveness of converting immediately. So that's the problem we're identifying. What is the reality, Michael?
Reality is simple. It's that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And the reality is there's a lot of, let's say, gym owners, fitness studio owners that are hiding behind their brand and not building authentic relationships with prospective members. And also, you look at some of the data points, and it's mixed out there. Some will say it takes 50, 60, even up to 100 touch points of that connection of your brand awareness, of being out there over a period of time for people to build up that trust. It takes time. And so again, going back to what we were saying earlier on, trying to convert someone or trying to sell to somebody so early without building that relationship online, it's doomed for failure.
Yeah, it's like going in for a kiss as soon as she opens the door for the first date, right? Like it's just too soon. The trust isn't there. When the trust is there, kisses happen, maybe more. But the point is, we've got to start building some trust. And
Absolutely.
No like and trust has been in the marketing conversation for a long, long time. We actually got a chance to see, you and I both got to see Roy H. Williams speak on marketing. He's one of the greatest marketers of all time. And he was talking about the idea of being patient and actually adding in steps early, because when you do that and you focus in on the brand, it may take a little bit longer in the beginning, but the payoff is forever. And so I love that you said that. Okay, so we know the problem. We understand the reality of it. I'd like to dive into the solution. So let's talk about holistic buyer journey. I know that's something that we've talked about in the past. So what does this look like? What's the approach?
Well, it starts really, marketing hasn't changed in a long time. So consumers typically going to go through many stages through a buying process. You're going to go through awareness, consideration, conversion. Depending on who you talk to, there's other steps involved, but to keep things simple, those are the sort of three main steps a consumer is going to go through the decision-making process. So it starts at brand awareness level. And what does that mean? It's whether you're running paid ads or you're doing organic content, we need to get our message out there and build that authentic connection to prospective members. So engaging creating content, sharing that content on a regular basis, and again, not hiding behind your brand. So yes, we're proud of our brand and we're all unique, and it's great to have that brand identity. But at the same time, as we said before, is people buy from people, they don't buy from brands. And so unless you have a big brand like Apple or Tesla, we need to show who we are. Like, we need to connect with people on a human level. So what does that look like? It starts by sharing content around telling your story, your journey, what got you into the fitness industry in the first place. Like, what challenges have you overcome to get there? And then going furthermore, and why did you decide to open up your fitness studio? What were the challenges involved there? And why did you do it? Because obviously you want to help people, you want to create happier and healthier lifestyles. So, sharing that story authentically is really important. And guess what? It's going to resonate with the right type of members that you want to attract to your community. So you're not just getting anybody coming into your ecosystem, you're getting people that match you, that are a little bit more like you. And that's just a starting point from an awareness level.
So that makes sense, but some people listening, watching, they need to see it. They need to understand, like, what does this look like? So you've worked with hundreds of gyms now, and you've told me some stories of people that have done really well here. What are some examples of people using like authentic videos in order to boost conversions, or just be more personal so that the consumer, the viewer of the brand, feels connected?
Have you heard of the brand Anytime Fitness?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So everyone's heard of the brand. And so, typically we're going to have a client that we worked with recently in Anytime Fitness, and they felt that their brand being known, that they didn't need to do any more work outside of what they already have from a sort of HQ level. So what we did is, when we started working with them, we introduced them to some video scripts and frameworks around how they can actually share their story with their local market. So people got to know them as the owners, and furthermore their team, in the content that we ran from a paid ads perspective, at a brand awareness level. Again, bringing those consumers into their ecosystem that resonated with their story. Now, how that helped them? That actually helped their lead quality increase from a 10% conversion all the way up to a 32% conversion. What does that mean? Is that from the leads that they actually got in to a trial, they're actually able to convert 32% of those leads into a membership, which is, they've never experienced anything like that.
Now, really quick, for anybody listening, some of you might be saying like, oh, we get like a 50%, we get 60%. No, this isn't show to close. This is lead to close, right?
Correct.
That's a very different game. So if you run your math backward and say, okay, well, this is how many leads we got, and this is how many sales we got, not how many showed appointments you had and how many sales you got, how many leads you got, 32% is very, very hard to get. Typically you see like a 15 to 22%, and this guy got 32%, which is like double. So very, very cool story. I remember you telling me too about a bar 3 and a way that they do is like a Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah, so if you have a look at their Instagram, Bar 3 Lakewood Ranch, another one is also the trainer page. And these guys really get it when it comes to content. And the clients that we work with, they get the best results, they make the best content. And again, it's authentic content. It's not just simply hype videos from a brand perspective. It's really showing their true personality. And so one of the things that these guys are using right now is they're jumping onto trends that they're seeing. So point of view style videos. So really going in from, let's say, a member perspective, walking into the studio, like a first person style sort of angle, going into the studio, going to the reception, saying hello, giving them a high five, talking to the team members, going to the change rooms, checking out the equipment, getting ready, and really seeing that from a first person perspective is really, really well. And they're doing that great right now.
And, for everybody watching, listening, the trainer page is actually owned by a guy named Nick Page, who I just interviewed on the podcast. He's actually on our YouTube channel, though, because he gave a great speech at GSDCon. He does get it when it comes to organic. And yeah, I referred him over to you guys for ads. I think he was getting like a $40, $50 cost per lead before he met you. And then he texts me maybe like a week ago saying his lead cost went down to $11 and the leads are solid. So he said he was going to start spending more with you because of it. So thank you for making me look good by referring you. And
anytime.
I love it. Okay, so just being a lot more authentic. I love that. And, I think a lot of people, either they don't think about it, they don't put enough weight in how this is a personal type of business. When you're buying life insurance, when you're buying car insurance, the merchant accounts, you don't care about the person, right? That's why Geico had to have a slogan 15%, or what was it, 15 minutes or $15 or something like that, whatever it was. But it was basically like, hey, look, it's going to take you almost no time and I'm going to save you money. Why? Because that's the only reason I would ever jump on the call with somebody from car insurance or home insurance, right? Like I'm already good. So you've got to promise me that this conversation will take very little time and that it's going to be worth it for me financial. It's a logical reason. I don't care about I haven't talked to my agent at my insurance companies in years. I don't know. However, the gym I go to, I know everybody there. And every gym that I've gone to or had, we know each other. It's a relational business. McDonald's, transactional. Chipotle, transactional. You're going to go to that restaurant, even if the guy was annoying and a bad employee, you're going to go again because you're going to get somebody different. You don't care. But when it comes to the gym space, yeah, people want to feel connected. And the number one reason people join might be to achieve a certain goal, but the number one reason people stay is because of the community. And so it is the way people like to work out these days. And so I definitely think you guys do a great job of focusing on that being a part of your marketing. All right. I talked to you a little bit about this method you've got. It's called the 4-step method for relationship building. And I'd love for you to dive into it with us.
Yeah, definitely. And there's really two parts to it. What happens before the click and what happens after the click. So for the case of this, what's a click? Is the time when a consumer actually provides their contact information and goes from just someone watching to becoming a lead. So before the click, we start at the brand awareness level, right? So this is what we were discussing earlier on, is sharing authentic content from organic perspective or boosting it from a paid level. It doesn't really matter as long as we're sharing content and really getting over the fear. I think there's still a lot of fear out there that people just don't want to get in front of camera. They want to, jump on their phone. They're afraid. But honestly, when you start doing it and you get used to it on a consistent level, that's maybe 7 days and you get over that. So overcome the fear is the first thing, then get your content out there. Then once your content is out there, it's important to actually engage with those consumers that are actually liking and commenting on your posts. This is something that often a lot of people forget to do, is they've got great content out there and then they're getting likes, they're getting comments, feedback. The social platform is there to be social. We need to be engaging with your community. And I listened to your podcast a couple episodes back. You had Six Cycle Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Was it Jared and Emma on the show? And they experts in that space. And through their engagement, they were able to actually sign up a lot of members organically without actually any paid ads, which was fantastic to hear. So again, sharing that content, engaging with the audience, and then following on from that is thinking about enticing them with a high value offer. And again, that's at the consideration level. So we've got now, they're aware of your brand. They've had multiple touch points. There's some interest there. So every now and then we want to entice, we don't want to be spamming people, but we want to entice with an offer every 10th post, every 6th post, if that makes sense. And so once we've enticed them with an offer, then we've generated a lead. We've got that interest. We've got contact information. So that is everything that happens right up to that click. Now, this is where often a lot of people stop. They don't do that extra work, because once you have a lead, we really understand that only 3% of consumers are ready to make a decision around their health and fitness right now. They're ready to buy right now. 97% need to be nurtured. We need to nurture that lead over a period of time. Sometimes it can take days, weeks, or even months for a consumer to make a decision about their health and fitness. They're shopping around. So what can we do from a nurture perspective? Well, first, we want to obviously engage that lead quickly. We want to ask them qualifying questions. We don't want to spam them again with another, book. Here's a link, book a trial. This is often a mistake that we see quite a lot in the industry, where we've got that lead and we're rushing them to book in a trial. They're not going to be, they're not all ready for that, right? So what else can we do? Ask questions. Simple. Just treat them as a human being and understand why they reached out. What are their health and fitness goals? What have been their challenges? How long have they had those challenges? How do they feel about their current physical condition? Are they open to getting support? Because if we ask those questions, and let's say they are open to getting support, then we've got that ability to invite them for a trial.
I love it. This is obviously a concept that, as a marketer, I've understood for a while. This give value first. I mean, that's what this podcast is, right? This podcast, I give a lot of value for free. We share a lot of inside stuff for free, but we've gotten a lot of our best clients from this, that we do a lot of work with for years, because they got value from us first for several years or months or whatever. And then they were like, you know what? I'm just going to find a way to work with these guys. So where do you think people can learn this way of thinking? Like, how do you think people can fast track their way of thinking for something like this? Is there a resource at all?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a really good resource. I like Gary Vee's jab, 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 right hook. Again, he's all about providing value first and not necessarily always asking for the sale. So that for me is a great resource. Really easy to read. It's very now, if that makes sense. And I believe he's doing another variation of that book, which I'm not too sure if it's released yet, but there's sort of a second edition coming out.
Jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think it's the extra jab.
So yeah, check out that book. It is a good book. I've read that. It's been a little while, but I've read that, and it's a great book. And for everybody, that's listening right now, you may be saying like, "Wow, marketing might go a little deeper than I thought." It goes even deeper than that. We really just spend time on building authentic relationships with prospects online, and going through that process. But if you guys want to really understand what marketing is at a high level, take 10 minutes and watch this video. If you go to loudrumor.com/4, the number 4, PS, it stands for the 4 Ps of marketing. So 4PS. And it'll really show you how deep marketing goes. And you'll be surprised how little people actually do in marketing, and how much opportunity people actually have if they do it right. So Michael, thank you so much, man. You shared a ton. This was really good stuff. We even got to share the names of some gyms and fitness studios, so others that are listening can start following them on Instagram and really see what they're doing and how they're doing it. Is there anything we're missing?
No, we've covered a lot. There's always plenty more. There's email nurture campaigns. There's so much more that you can do to really nurture those prospects. So just keep diving in, and there's plenty more you can do. Plenty more you can do.
I love it. Well, we'll learn more from you, because I'm going to keep having you on the show over and over. So everybody, hope you like Michael, because it's happening. And, if you guys want to learn more about working with these guys, they're fantastic. I've sent over a ton of people their way. They're really, really good at driving a lot of leads at a very low rate, but also good quality leads that are ready to buy. You can go to SupaFitGrow.io. That's Supa, SUPA, fitgrow.io. And at the very least, get on a call with these guys and see what they're doing, because it's incredible. All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. For everybody watching and listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.